live stream webinar. Let me see
I'll
if it
see this.
works.
I'll see this. Vio, Assam.
Okay, so I think we are already streaming. Okay. Hi, everyone. So we are now streaming on social media, and we are now ready to talk to you about this section. Antonio, it's always a pleasure, really a pleasure to be with you on this
Yeah.
webinar. The idea of this webinar was basically your idea, Antonio, right? To do something informal, and this what we'll do. It's every first Friday, the same time. We are planning to spend between 45 minutes and 1 hour just chatting. I have a list here of things I want to say, Antonio. It's what is going on. And look, if anyone has something super cool in this, please reach out to us here. Maybe we can bring you online so you can share your ideas or put on the Q&A. What is the idea here? The idea is to foster a community to discuss. So it's an idea that Antonio and I we brought to you, but it's our space to talk about the trends, what is going on in the field, and how this is impacting us, how this is impacting the profession, and what is going on in AI. Antonio.
Yeah, so nice to see you again, Ricardo. Always nice working on this space. And I think the idea was we have a very successful masterclass, but not everybody can follow that or has the time to follow. So Ricardo and I, we thought about how can we engage the community, people who have joined and follow our masterclass, but also anyone who's interested in finding out the latest. We couldn't find anything similar. And this is a bit like a happy day that we get together once a month and just sharing and connecting with each other. So you can all connect through the chat with each other. There you put your link in and feel free and just expand the community. And I'm glad to see that we had more than 500 participants when we only announced it. I think was Monday or Tuesday because we were running a bit late. We got already more than 500 people subscribing for this first one. Remember, if you subscribe for this one, I think you'll get the link for the next ones, right, Ricardo?
Yes, yes. It's the one good thing is that we decided up to the end of the year, it's just the same link. And those who are registered, they are registered. And we open the registration, but what happens, it's only the 500 initial ones will be able to access through Zoom. Okay, so sometimes you will reach and they will say that the room is booked, is full. And in this case, then you need to watch on LinkedIn, you need to watch on YouTube, you need to watch on Facebook, and this so will be available. The good thing on Zoom is that here you can participate, ask questions. So you are very close to us here because we are transmitting through Zoom. Okay, through Zoom and recording and sending to all of you via streaming. Okay. But Antonio,
Okay.
it's very nice. There is so many things happening. Maybe I can kick off
You
with
go ahead. Yes.
yeah,
What
with
have you seen
some
new?
comments. So last week I had an excellent call with Manuel Lemos. That is a great friend, and he was the guest of us on the third masterclass. And he's now moving to the Silicon Valley to live there with his family. And we were talking. We had something like 2-hour talk about AI, just AI, and what is happening in AI, what is cool. And then my question to him was, I started saying, is AI fading? I would say, this the hype cycle, it's fading. And then he said, Ricardo, it's not only not fading, but it's just soaring. But what is happening is that the content of AI is very big. Some of the waves, they go and they reduce. For example, the concept of using large language models to help you to write, to help you to study, to help you to summarize. this is now moving to a more, I would say, day-to-day use. So, for example, will a new GPT be much better than the current GPT? Potentially will be better in terms of writing and this, but we already have reached a space where things are very, very stable and quite good. So this improvement. And then I asked him, okay, where opportunities lies for project managers in this sector? And then he said a couple of things that I want to share with you. First, there is a massive interest today in how you can automatize workflow. So let's suppose you have a project and you have a workflow. For example, an approval of a project or a workflow of buying a product for your project or this. If you can develop tools on the top of these large language models that can connect and reduce your effort on that, this is a bingo. So if companies, and there are many companies working on this field, they can develop this, it will be a massive improvement. Let me give you an example. Let's suppose you go on ChatGPT, Antonio, and you put, I want to do a holiday trip. And imagine that it's not answering just that is the GPT, but also saying, look, I suggest you to go to Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia, that I just went a couple of weeks ago. And I found an airline ticket, and the ticket is 200 euros. And I have these 5 hotels for you. Do you want me to book it for you? So this is what I'm saying, automatic workflow. It's something that just, it does not only answer, but it can act on your behalf, can buy a ticket, can buy an airline, or for example, if it's a project, can buy the product for you, can fill, for example, a risk assessment from inside the chat. And I say, look, is there a risk on this? Yes, it's there. This is the probability. And I already insert this in your risk register. Did you see this? For example, I'm thinking about doing taking a vacation next week. Is it a good time for me in the project? It will evaluate the project. It will evaluate the tasks you were assigned and will revert back saying, no, please, take in the following week, because this week will reduce the impact on the project. So this kind of automatic workflow is becoming a true hotspot, not only for projects, but for every sector. So companies that are developing this and operating in this area are becoming extremely hot topic. Antonio, back to you.
I had a bit the same reflection, and afterwards I've prepared a small video that I saw the other day and made me think about the future of project management. But on your point and sharing with everyone, we have heard about AI for more than a year, ChatGPT mainly, and LLMs. And to be honest, I've not seen that much happening in project management as I would have wished. I think we are seeing pockets of tools that have been developed, like the ones that we have shared in the masterclass, Folio, Scope Master, the GPTs that we've seen starting with PM Auto, which was, I think, the pioneer in this space. I just launched the AI predictor tool, but I'm surprised, and we hear a lot of Microsoft Copilot, but I don't know. I think things are taking more time than what I would have expected. The big PPM tools as well, they've talked about AI for a year, and I just don't see much yet. Maybe it's like you're saying, Ricardo, this is just going to be a bit silence because everybody's working on this, and in a few months the thing will come and say, listen, project managers, you just need to work 1 day because out of 5, because the rest is going to be fully automated, and actually the tool will tell you what you need to do when things don't go right. So I'm just a bit surprised that things are moving slowly. I don't know. I don't know if it's the industry, Ricardo, project management industry, the project management profession has not been very advanced on technology, on innovation. We are rather averse of innovation. So I don't know if it's the culture, the profession. I see, for example, in medical, in other sectors where you see AI coming and woof, big things. And I'm just surprised that things are not going as fast in our profession. So I just I know it's going to change, but I just thought it was going to change a bit faster. Maybe it changes quicker later when it comes and becomes like a standard way of managing projects, a tool that anybody can access. But beyond the GPTs, the chat GPTs, that is, I think from our survey, remember, was the mostly widely used. About 80% of the people talking about AI, they were using ChatGPT, which, like you said, is a good tool, but it's not the greatest, right? This is often misleading, a lot of guessing. So it's a good tool, of course, and we should use it, but it's just the beginning. So it's a question I was thinking the other day preparing this session is, wait a moment, it's more than a year. It's almost 14, 15 months. And where is it? Where is it beyond ChatGPT and the tools that we just mentioned? So it's just a starting reflection to share with you and the rest of the colleagues here.
Yeah, I want just to say one thing that here we are not just coming here just to make compliments on the AI, but also to talk about challenges. So let me share with you one thing. When I did a round with investors last year on the PMOTO in the Silicon Valley, and this, do you know one thing that surprised me most is that many people, they said, okay, we would love to invest this, but the market is not very big. And this is why there is such a dramatic investment on video, on image, and this, because there is a huge, massive, millions and millions and millions of users. But when you think about an application specifically for PPM, for example, there is a market, of course, but it's not
Huge.
the massive market of others. So this is something that I saw that. But what I see is that people are trying to remove the pain points. So where the pain is, people are trying to work on removing that. So removing bureaucracy, for example, legal aspects. And I think that, Antonio, we can benefit as project managers a lot with tools that are not specifically designed for PM, but that PM, because project management is such a holistic thing. So you need to be a good PM, you need to understand the implications of import and export of a product. You need to have implications on the market if you're a developer or an IT. So you need to know. So there are tools, specific tools that you can benefit. For example, Dr. Gulch said this perfectly on the masterclass. He said, for example, she said, oh, this tool helps you to do this part of the work. That tool helps you to do. And what I see is that there, as I said on this workflow, tools like Zapier, ITFF, that these tools that integrate different tools, we start growing and bringing a lot of I would say traction to this sector. Okay, but I understand this. One thing also that I see as a super big trend is what we call vector database. And what is the big take on the vector database? Because remember one thing, just trying to make a 101 class on vector database in 30 seconds. Data is traditionally unstructured. So you have photos, you have videos, you have whatever. And how you create a structure? Most of the time you put tags, right? You put tag on the photo, like travel. You put tag on this, travel, and then you create a cluster of travel. But what happens? If you use vector database, you can keep these tracks. But instead of using tags, you use numbers and you create vectors that will help the computer to find your information in a much faster speed than by looking on unstructured data. And also reduce your need to, for example, put the tags, because it will map all the information, and all the information that is close, they will cluster. And why this matters for us? Because, for example, these using vector database will be a massive improvement for the way we analyze historical information in projects. Because if we can combine the knowledge of our previous projects into vector database, this kind of database that it's not a traditional database, these will be massive. And there are many tools like Pint Cone, Chroma, that generate this vector type of vector database for you. And this will be a massive improvement for you, for example, to use on PMOto, for example, on the third level, when you need your information. So instead of having unstructured, you structured it in vector database. This is another super big trend now that people are talking. So if you go on the web and put vector database, you will see that this is a massive trend that people are trying to work, solving the problem of the data on that.
Yeah, I like the reflection, Ricardo, and I was watching some of the comments here already from Karen, for example, and Susan saying that this is also an opportunity. The fact that that they're slow on the pickup, that it gives opportunities and for people to be more entrepreneurship. And I think that's something that we're talking, Ricardo and I, all the time, is how can we support more and be more involved in kind of supporting people with AI project related initiatives, because the opportunity is big. I think there's millions of projects obviously around the world, trillions of projects. So if you find something that can have a big impact, it's huge. But the other point that I agree with Karen White is that we don't have that entrepreneurship innovation. We didn't have to use innovation in project management very often, right? We could have the idea comes with somebody else, and then we just scope it and define the scope, the WBS. So we were more translators of an idea into a plan. But the innovation from our side was actually quite limited. We will not challenge the features or the functionality that was done by the marketing team. So I think there is a big opportunity, or maybe a need or a urge, that we also see our roles as much more added value. And I think that will happen once these tools really hit the profession. And like Garner says, 80% will be done automatic AI. And I think we will need to reshape the role that we play in projects. And there's this innovation piece, entrepreneurship mindset, the executive way of thinking that we don't have yet. Very few people have that. And my definition of a project is your projects are your future. This is the working title of my book. So we're working on the future of the organizations that we carry projects, but we don't use the innovation piece, the entrepreneurship piece. We have not, we didn't need that before, but I think that's where the profession is going to evolve. And I think it's great, but it's a big leap from somebody who translates an idea to an execution plan, which is a core skill. Definitely very few people have that, but to add on top of that innovation, entrepreneurships, feeling like this is my project, I want to make it succeed. And if I don't like that piece, I'm going to change that piece, because I see I need to take more ownership of the product, of whatever we're developing in our projects, instead of just delivering. So I agree with the comments there, Karen, Susan. I think there's opportunities, but when we look at the future of project management and our role is going to radically change, and this is an opportunity to become more influential. People who are being sought for just not just driving a plan and milestones and deliverables, but adding really a lot of value. Just to finish, one of the things that today I appreciate the most, and I think that's where we create the biggest value in our profession today as a project manager is we need to have a good plan. We need to have clearly deadlines. One thing that we don't do very well, and we need to get better, is having a benefit plan, right? The Gantt charts are important, but that's more for the project. The benefit plan. So, for example, if you're working, I don't know, in sustainability and you have a target to reduce use of plastic by 2030, to eliminate, the project manager that I see will be more successful is to say, I have a plan to eliminate plastic use by 2030, but listen, CEO, if you want to eliminate plastic by 2026, this is what I need from you. So we need to learn about benefits. And then the second step is, how can we accelerate that? What do I need from my leaders, from my organization to accelerate? Maybe AI, maybe tools, but that's the mindset where I think we need to go. Is we have a deadline. It's not anymore about meeting the deadline, meeting the budget. That's the past. It's about meeting benefits and faster. So that's a big shift in the mindset that I see. And I'm almost sure this is going that way.
Yeah, that's a perfect point. And I saw a lot of comments on this human side and what will be the role. And we said this so many times. I think that the role of the project manager will not be update a schedule or prepare a project report. And this, I think this will be done extremely well by technology, but I think that there are a massive room for the empathy, for, I would say, some, I don't want to say instinct, but some of the reactions, the feeling that the experience brings to us in terms of decision making, etc. That is very much human based. That is very much human based. This is why, for example, I truly believe that our ability to make decisions, our ability, I would say complex decisions, complex problem solving, we may use the technology to help us. But for example, when this involves relationship, for example, let me just give you an example here, please, just didactical. Imagine if we have a computer that is saying, okay, we have the problem between Israel, Palestine, Hamas, and this, please lay out a solution for me that works. And it's very hard for technology to even think about that, because the problem is so complex that, people need to sort this out. So this is my feeling about a role for us. And this goes to Karen White question, for example, what I should be teaching my graduate studies regarding AI. I think, Karen, what you need to use, it's not just to teach just the tools. It's very operational. What you need is to teach your students to think about, okay, where the work will be done better by AI, and where your student skills and ability will do better than AI. Okay, and then try to balance in an ethical and responsible way. One thing I want to tell people, hallucinations are real and are very possible, and they are a mathematical problem. People talk about hallucinations, but people don't get what we're talking about. So let me just explain to you what hallucination is before we go. Let me just show you this in 30 seconds. Imagine here what generative AI does. This is a point here, and this is another point here, and this is another point here. So what happens? You can create a line that connect these points. A line is basically one of the possible models. So you create a line here. Okay, the best line. And what happens? These, you try to extrapolate the data through this line. So imagine, okay, if it's here, then this is the point. But what happens when you do an overfitting, or for example, when you train too much the element, you can produce a more complex network that is more precise on the points you gave. For example, this, look here. Let me draw here a design. Did you see that if you think on the 3 points of data, the data you gave, the green line is the green shape is much better than the red one, right? But what happened? If you move slide to the right here, what happens? You get a completely different result. This is where hallucinations are. This is the hallucination here, here. And if you fit more hallucinations may happen. So what happens, for example, if unless you have billions of data to avoid, for example, imagine that you have so many data that you reduce the chances of doing this. This is regression, okay? This I'm just using this as an example to you. But what is important that we keep in mind that this is a mathematical problem. It's not. It's very hard to solve, and this is why, for example, large language models, generative AI, is so poor and bad in math. When people could solve this and find an algorithm that solve this, then it's a absolutely whole new game. So this is why, Karen, we need to teach people to think, because we do not know the formula that shapes that, but we have an experience and a life experience that avoid and reduce for normal people hallucinations. And this is why it's so important here.
I think that's a nice intro. Maybe Ricardo, we had prepared a small mentee to just
Yeah.
gather a bit of information from you people that we
Yeah,
care.
what we want, we have some ideas here. We want just your insights and your help. So Antonio, maybe you can explain. So we have a couple of questions that about the future. So I will keep this here for a moment, but also I will share on the chat the link. But we want just to hear from you. In terms of professional development, we are thinking, okay, what is something that could be worth? And should we try working on a certification on AI that will help project managers to understand that? Should we work in an incubator-like model to foster companies and professionals with great ideas to deliver a better these results? So I'm just placing it here, so just to get your insights on that. Maybe Antonio, you can take some questions here. Meanwhile, I leave the QR code here.
Yeah. So thank you. We just need your input to get some feedback on potential certification and online course. And also Ricardo and I were thinking about creating this startup lab for AI and project management to support with our access to clients. And so just wanted to gather a bit your ideas. There's great comments. I like Mario Seabook. You were talking about the chaos report, which is the now I think the benchmark by now on project success, bit IT driven, but still it gives is the best I've seen as well. And you can see that there's some increase on the success of projects. It's not huge, but the impact is amazing. No, the amount that we can save by doing project better. So let me all the other comments are amazing. So I would recommend everyone to go into the chat and see what other people. I think there's a call for help from Nuno as well for some research. So that's what we want to use this community to just connect between each other, and we can help. But you can also get connected to each other. Ofolio, I see Pascal asking for a resourcing tool. Ofolio is a student of mine who has created this startup, and we bring him often to the master class to show that is a really one of the most mature tools. So great comments. Let me go to the chat and the Q&A to start with some of the questions. Joe, guys, which AI app do you recommend for managing projects successfully? I personally, I don't use any app at the moment, Joe. I'm just exploring and playing around with the GPTs, with the chat GPTs. I'm starting to use some of the tools that we bring to the masterclass, like understanding of folio, scope master, but an app that you can use on your projects. I've not seen, there's one speaker that we might bring who has developed an app for the president of France to monitor through the app the status of more than 50,000 public sector projects. So he's a good friend, and we might bring him next time into the call or the master class. And he has developed this app. It's just monitoring. It's just how many of these projects have been completed, which one are off track, and where do I need to intervene as president of the nation to take action. So that's the app I've seen. I don't know, Ricardo, if you've
Yeah.
aware from app.
No, I okay. I don't know this perfect app that we are trying to discuss here, but what I can say to you, it's I'm using, for example, tools that are inside others. For example, on Trello, for example, you use part of AI tools to populate, for example, your Kanban board, and these pieces of my project management journey, I do that. Okay, I use goblin tools, magic to help me to craft a very draft, for example, risk register, to craft a very draft a WBS chart. These are tools I use, but a full tool that will do, I haven't seen this in place. Okay, I haven't seen this in place and ready to be done. And this is why I said this automatic workflow is something who can do that will benefit massively on that. And but I believe, Antonio, that these will come, because it's becoming easier and easier for you to do that. But today, I would say I take a piece here, a piece there, a piece there. So I use a lot of them. I was analyzing another day. I have so many subscriptions, that sometimes it's like crazy.
Yeah.
Something like in a project with 20 different tools. One does this. I saw here Nuno saying about Gamma. So I'm subscriber of Gamma to do presentation. So each part I take a piece of. I use a lot Perplexity AI. I like very much because of the web part and the web component. Honestly, another day, just to give you an idea, I was using character.ai, that you talk to personalities in this, because I was trying to find insights about a specific problem. So honestly, do you know what I did? I went to Sun Tzu and asked how you would solve this problem. And then I went to Einstein, how would you solve this problem? I took the same prompt and I asked it something like 20 different personalities with very different behaviors to see how they would solve that problem. And then I took all of them to help me to say, okay, how should I solve the problem? Just see, Sun Tzu thinks you should do this. Albert Einstein thinks you should do that. And it's nice. It's very nice. So I'm just using this as an example for you all.
Yeah. Okay. There's a quick question here. Rola, is the recording? Yeah, this is
Yes.
recorded. So we're going to be sharing that. Federico, good to see you. Nice to see friends on the call. Are you moving from generative to not necessarily moving? I think we're trying different things, but predictive and machine learning algorithms is something that I am very interested. I'm very passionate. I've worked for portfolio management for 10 years or 15, and I was surprised how cumbersome the selection processes that we have today in project management, and for these processes that we have for selection projects, it's outdated, right? They were done for selecting 10 projects. Today, companies are running thousands of projects. So you need to use technology. You cannot just manage this through process and manual information and steps. So I clearly see that there's a need for that piece of prioritization and project selection, the use of technology, AI, and machine learning. So not really moving from, but also investing, exploring into predictive where I think there's a lot of potential to be done. I think these tools, the one we have now, a predictor can tell you from a portfolio of 30 or 300 projects, can tell you these 50 projects you can close them down. There's no chance they're going to be successful. So there's a lot of value we can create in that space. But generative AI, I think that's huge, and that's, I think, something that we need to keep investing, exploring, and learning from. Thank you, Rico. Good question. Thank you for being there. The
Yeah,
next one, Ricardo talks
yeah,
about
let me take a few quick ones, okay? Nuno said, I have found Claude a bit better than ChatGPT in some ways. Honestly, Nuno, I think unless you are very specific, I think Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, they are very similar. I use mostly ChatGPT just because I'm used to that. Okay, I'm used to that. The others are very good too, but unless you need something very complex or specific, you will find, I would say, a leverage on that. I think all of them are quite good now. I would say premium layer of large language models. Diogo said one thing. Has someone ever used Jira with AI intelligent component? I need to say, wait for next month because I'm exactly next week doing that. So I will have a feedback on Jira with this, and not only Jira, but I'm doing Jira, Monday, Trello, ClickUp, all of them. I'm evaluating all of them on the AI. So I hope I will get an answer on this. Fulvio, Ricardo, you have any update or further elaboration on your AIoT concept you brought? Fulvio, I don't recall. AI of OT, it's AI of things, if I understood right. So I am not bringing any AI OT. I'm saying that there is a massive study on incorporating AI technologies on devices. For example, Apple will release, and this is the big news of the week, will release a built-in large language model for the iPhone in the next version. They are negotiating with OpenAI or Google to do that. These will be big because this means that you will have AI capabilities inside your iPhone even when you are not connected to the internet, using vector database. Exactly what I said. So it will, for example, it will be, imagine like a Siri, but with AI that could check your emails, photos, everything, and combine all your database. If this becomes true in September, it's a perfect example of AI OT. Okay, I'm not sure if this was your question, Fulvio, but if you have any additional comment, just put on the chat. Antonio, maybe you want to take.
Yeah, I keep seeing the comments as well. So the great comments beyond the questions here. And I can see some of the comments also about risk assessment. Warren, I definitely think that risk assessment and risk analysis should benefit from AI for sure, but have not seen much yet. But definitely, I think that's where these tools can be extremely useful, because I always say risk in a project is the things that are left after you've done risk management, because nobody has seen them. So I think AI can help us to see those risks that we never see, despite all the very thorough risk management that we do. So definitely, yes, I think there's a evolution there. Sylvie, would love to hear from you on a succinct, unique way to address some of the pros and cons of Gen I to alleviate some of the apprehensions of non-tech users. I think the only way I've done this, and Sylvie, I'm not a techie guy, very is to try and explore and listen, see examples, try different tools like Ricardo using Perplexity, Gemini, and see what is there. Never use confidential information, never upload a document from your company, but just try it. I think I think there's no other way that you can start experiences with AI than you taking the step. right? And it's not a technical. We all know how to use a smartphone. Did somebody teach you how to use a smartphone? No. So the same for this type of technology. It sounds scary, and you see a lot of the risks that we're talking about, hallucinations, and so just be careful. But just having AI, not just for your projects, but in general, to have discussions and just talk about anything, politics, food. It's just fun to see how powerful these tools can be to help. I use it for many things. I don't go to Google that often anymore. I just go to these things and you get a much broader answer. So I think that's the step for me, Sylvie. Just encourage people who are not tech to try it very simple. Outside work, try it for something fun, something they like, and they will. I think most people get fascinated by this type of very advanced AI chats.
I agree completely. Apprehension and fear comes together with lack of knowledge and awareness. So as soon as you start using, you become, I would say, in some ways, less and less afraid or scared. And this, I think, it's the best. The worst thing you can do is to stay afraid and do nothing, and do nothing and just stay afraid. I have a question here on the chat that is very interesting. Andy, Antonio, you said in HBR, 48 trillion of investment in projects every year. What is the source of the data? And then to me, Ricardo, you mentioned today that the market for project management tools is small. Therefore, many investors are not interested to fund new technologies. Why this discrepancy? Let me start, and then, Antonio, I go back to you. Andy, one thing is doing projects. Other thing is managing projects. People do projects since the Stone Age. Okay, so people are doing projects as we speak, and there are trillions and trillions of dollars on that. But my question is, are they really interested on managing that projects? And this is where I see the discrepancy, okay? So people believe that they can manage their project with any tool, they can manage their project with their mind. And this is why, for example, success rates are so low. This is why, for example, we saw the comment from Mario, 35% on the chaos report are successful. It means 65 are wrong. And maybe, Antonio, you can answer on this 48 trillion.
Yeah, so Andy, I don't have that top of my mind. I know that for HVR you always need to put the source. So I think it was PMI, but I'm not 100%. So if you want, just send me a mail and I'll go back to the book and find the reference. But out of my head, I don't remember. I know I had some good sources for that information there. Um, I saw a quick one here starting from the bottom. If the master class is presential, no, the master is an anonymous, so I don't know. But the master class is online, so anyone in the world can join. We break
And
it down.
usually everybody, it comes from different places. Yeah.
It's like this call. Yeah, you have a lot of people all, and it's broken down in 2 days, it's 2.5 days, so that it's not too intense. You can still keep working and then come for 4 hours into the master class. So we do offer presential, but this it's in company or for some
Yeah.
certain conferences. But this is not how we run it. Most of the time, it's online.
And yeah,
So I
and
hope
we
that
have
answers.
250 students already. And I just put here while you were speaking, the next one will be on June 26 and 27. And just want to highlight to you, we always try to make it more affordable. So we, until this Sunday, we are offering 20% off. Okay, we started last week to promoting. So for those who are interested, you just need to use the coupon Future AI to register. Okay, we are trying to do our best, and it's a live event. Okay, it's not in person, but it's a live event. Okay, and after that, I saw some people asked about the LinkedIn group, and this, we have a LinkedIn group, but currently this LinkedIn group is just for alumni, for those who participate in the masterclass. Okay, so this is not yet, maybe in the future it will be different, but it's not yet open to the public in general. Okay.
That's a good point. Maybe, Ricardo, we should think about all these comments and questions if we can get that download and ask ChatGPT to summarize. And I think there's so much value on the comments, not just the discussion. So we'll
Yeah,
find a way that we can share that or have a place where you can all share as well. It's not just us, but I
yeah.
like to see the chat into a summarized version where there's links already and we can add more. So I think that's something that I think it could be very valuable for this community. Sorry, Ricardo, you were speaking.
Okay, now that's perfect. Let me just quickly here go through some of the questions. There are so many here. Have you utilized Notion? Jesse asked it. Yes, I have utilized it. I like it very much, but I still struggle with my mind because Notion sometimes mixes my calendar, and sometimes I get just crazy because it swapped my events and my stuff, and to optimize it, and it's nice, but I'm still, for example, I have a memory of my calendar and suddenly it changed everything. So I'm still learning mentally how to use it, but it's a great tool. Probably I am the problem. It's my, I don't know, old mentality that I need to shape at this. Ricardo, is market size the only obstacle preventing company from implementing a comprehensive end-to-end AI system that can support all PM activities? No, I think it's a market side, but also a cost benefit because it's complex to make an end-to-end solution for project management because not all projects are the same. We have different methods, different methodologies, different approaches. So it's complex, and it's complex, and it's not a huge, massive market. And this is where I would say the trade-off is. For example, I'm just using this. For example, Microsoft Project it used to be a great tool, but you cannot compare with Excel because Excel has the power of market power that is 100 times bigger. No, not 100, probably 1,000 times bigger than the project management. So the Microsoft project. So the investments are much more focused on the Microsoft Excel than the project. So it's just a business case. So if we increase awareness of the use of project management, more people will be interested in developing and doing things on AI. Antonio, maybe you can.
Yeah, Sumana, nice to see you. We had this class a few weeks ago. Is there any Gen I that is now trained on benefits planning and projects and some of these other concepts like the project canvas and so on? No, I don't. I'm not aware, Sumana. I think there's an opportunity to do something. Definitely, it's an area that we're very interested. So we'll keep searching or maybe investing in ideas that we see around benefit management. I think that's the weakest area in project management is the benefit piece for me. And I think anything that can help us to be more clear on how to draw benefits and monitor that benefit plan and accelerate it, it's something that I'm very interesting. So that's kind of for me, and and Ricardo and I were thinking about this venture lab idea. Is I think we can do a lot in the prediction space for before launching projects. And for me, the next one will be on the benefit side. How can we get more visibility and get AI behind that? So yeah, we'll see. This is something that the good thing is, like some of you were saying, the opportunities are huge. It's just incredible, right? And you don't need to be an IT developer or a PhD in data science. I think this is the nice part, is that there are people who can provide those skills, but we can focus on the value creation and the experience. So thank you. I like the question. So exciting.
Yeah, I will take Ioanni's question here about public sector and private sector. My question to both of you, being PPM experts, it's adopting AI between government and private sector. Should we assume that private sector will be quicker to adapt Also, have you seen any global example of any government advancing in the AI space currently? This is a great question. I would say private companies are, I would say, faster because they have traditionally less bureaucracy, and smaller companies and more agile companies in terms of agility, they are faster, because one of the challenges is if you put a lot of roadblocks for innovation, then innovation becomes lower. And then when it's ready, you are already out of the market, or your product is just irrelevant. So what is happening is that government always fall behind on that because of the rules and everything. We need to rethink government. So government, the way we govern our society is not very much compatible with the speed that things are happening. And this is the challenge we're facing everywhere. Okay, people start doing things and then the government trying to play a catch up on that. So I don't know exactly how the solution. And in terms of AI being used in a very, I would say, large scale in the governments, my short and quick answer to you, it's no. People are talking a lot about that, but I don't see a completely, okay, you will fill your tax forms using Gen AI, something that will analyze your health on the British healthcare system using AI. I haven't seen. I have seen a lot of people talking about that, but not too much doing.
I'll go with the last one here, Mario, and thank you for all the contribution there, Mario, and the list of there's a few lists on AI tools. There's quite a lot. We in the masterclass we share one that has been created by Professor Golche, but there's it's good to have that link that you just shared there around AI tools. But basically, the question, I take that your last one is, what can PMs learn from startup scale-ups on building successful, scalable solutions? I think we can learn a lot, Mario. And Ricardo started the presentation talking about his discussions with in Silicon Valley and the potential of AI. And I think, yeah, it's linked to what we were talking about. We don't have that mindset. We didn't have to think about solutions or ideas. We were given the idea. And I think from what I know and the small startups that I created, it's all about taking risk. It's all about having an idea and driving to get that idea into something that you can offer that generates value to your potential clients. So I think we don't have that mindset. So I would definitely recommend to read about startups, to read about the people who have created business and scalable. There's amazing. I like to follow Tim Ferriss, for example, and he has a great podcast. And it's this kind of podcast which are not like 20 minutes. These podcasts are like 2 hours, but he takes the people from who have really created startups and scale them hugely. So Tim Ferriss is when I'm driving or I cannot work, and just Tim Ferriss is one of the best because it's entertaining and he really tries to go into very very depth and always around entrepreneurship and so I like Tim Ferriss as somebody to learn from.
Yeah, I agree 1,000,000,000% with you, Antonio. You need, look, watch the podcast of Tim Ferriss, but also talk to young people, young generation, to people different from you. Talk to entrepreneurs and try to unlock your mentality to that. For example, many times I love talking to my daughters and say, what are you seeing on the web? What is cool? What you and your friends are enjoying? For example, this is where I found charter.ai. So you need to understand, because there's a lot of things going on that we are not seeing with our normal eyes. So we need really to open, for example, a talk, for example, take a course on startup, take a course on entrepreneurship. I'm not saying you will become an entrepreneur just by doing that, but you need to have this exposure. For example, for me, I have curiosity on AI since ever. Okay, since ever. So I wrote articles on this. Since ever, I love the use of math. And this, for example, I study this. For example, I'm doing the course now on programming R. And that's why it's not, I would not become a programmer, but I want just to know how they think, how the core thinks, what they want. And this helps me. And this, Mario, is a perfect question on that, because we need to have this mindset, even to be a project manager. Don't think that because you don't want to be an entrepreneur per se or opening a company that you will not benefit from this entrepreneurial mindset. There is a wonderful book that I read called the Founder Mentality. It's talking about this mentality, and it's a very nice book also for you to read. My friend Antonio, I think we are close to the end. We were thinking about 45 minutes. Now it's 56, and we still have some questions to answer. But look, I think it's good because, of course, Antonio needs to work. I still need to work also. So this is just an informal. So the next one will be on, let me say to you, on June 7th at 4 p.m. Central European Time, 3 p.m. West European Time, and if I'm not wrong, it will be 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So in this, you don't need to register again, but you are more than welcome to invite others to register, okay? One final message here. We have the masterclass, and we want to make sure everybody takes the opportunity. So until this Sunday, if you want to join us, and you can use the Future AI to have this 20% discount, okay? So thank you all very, very much. My friend Antonio, it's wonderful, my friend.
Nice.
Always to be with you. So all of you enjoy your weekend. I am now in Paris. So I will now, I still have 2 other commitments, but then I will enjoy my weekend here in Paris. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend, okay? And Antonio, until next time.
It's been better than what I thought. Thank you. I've learned from the chat, from the comments, and just please keep in touch. We want to build a I'm super excited. I got more ideas here. So thank you, Ricardo. Good to see you. There's so much we still need to do and catch up. But thank to everyone on the call and taking an hour of your time. It's just it's just an honor to be able to share with you and learn from you. Ricardo, thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Weekend in Paris.
Okay, bye-bye. See you all. Stay well.
Take
Bye.
care. Stay well. See you in a month.
Bye.